event. My name is Anamari Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host today on Digital Boost, where we learn it so we can do it and boost it. And we've got Natalie Coombe here from nataliecoombe.com, and she is a specialist in like pricing strategies. And I love when you come on because you give us so much insight into our topic today, how we can increase our profits, but decrease our workload, which would be really nice for small businesses. We have had you on one other time, and it was such a great session. I think it was a workshop actually that we did last time. So this is going to be a great kind of opportunity for folks across all of the social media platforms to join us too, because our workshops are not publicized on there. So if you would like to join us, you've got to register. Thanks, Natalie, for joining us here today for this Digital Boost session.
Thank you so much for having me. I love coming on here, and I love the work that you guys do. It's so important to support small business now more than ever. We hold up the economy. So it's awesome to be here and help you guys, give you some tips on how to actually help making money a little bit easier for us all, because we kind of need that.
That's the hardest part. I think most small businesses really struggle with finance and, pricing strategies. Like, how do I actually, price what I do, put a value, put a dollar sign on what I actually do. And, am I going to price myself out if I go too high? Am I, if I go really low, how can I make the money I need? But maybe I can get into the market. So hopefully we'll get some real clarity about all of those kind of things. I know that you always jam pack lots of info in. So what I might do is I'm going to actually jump off and, well, not jump off, but trail over to our social media, get those all running so people can contribute into the chats there.
Yeah, sounds good. So she is gonna go do that.
Yeah. I'm doing that. Sorry. Did I drop you out? Sorry. I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere.
No, that's all good. No, we can definitely. So what you were talking about there while you're doing the social media is how do we incorporate what we call value-based pricing into a pricing strategy? How do we identify and work out what our value actually is? And I just want to speak to that just really briefly. And the first thing I want to say is that you actually can't put a value on you. So this is really relevant for businesses where you kind of are your business. And we do a lot of charge what you're worth, but you can't charge what you are worth because you are priceless, right? And so when we try to price out of our own value, there's that risk that we price out of a place of insecurity and fear and doubt and imposter syndrome. And that is not a good place to be pricing from. So instead, we use what's called value-based pricing, which is where it's not about you, how much you are worth. Instead, it is about the change or impact you have on your client's life or your client's business, and how valuable that is to them. So we shift the focus from how much are we worth, what can we charge, but instead we focus on the client and what impact does our product or service have on that client's life, and then how valuable is that. And when you make that shift to not focus on you're pricing from a much more secure place, because we're looking at impact and value, and you put your pricing in context to it. So that's kind of the core of value-based pricing, and that is the most powerful of the 4 key pricing methods. And I think one of the key parts of value-based pricing, I spend a lot of time with my clients on this, is finding the right client for whom what you need to charge for your business to be profitable and healthy and sustainable and all those really important things. Like, for whom does that price point make sense? Because it may not be the clients that you're currently working with. And so when we work through value-based pricing, it's understanding the value, but it's also understanding for whom does that price point make sense, so we can talk to and attract and communicate to more of those people who can actually afford to pay that. Because not everyone can, but there are always people who can who are in a position to afford and who value what you do enough to pay you what you're worth. We just need to find them as business owners, and value-based pricing as a method is really helpful for doing that. So I just wanted to touch on that because I think, what if we charge too much? What if we charge too little? It's about finding what you need to charge for your business to be viable, because there's no fucking point in being in business if it's not viable, if you can't pay your bills and pay yourself and do all the things. So it's about finding where you need to position for your business to be viable, and then who do we need to kind of connect with, attract, for whom that makes sense, and making sure obviously there's enough people in that market, all that really important stuff, but then communicating our value. So I hope that helps on that. If anyone has questions, let me know. Anamari, do you want me to start the presentation?
Yeah, I reckon kick it off. I mean, we've got heaps of people that have registered, and we've already got people watching on all our channels. So yeah, kick into it. Welcome, kia ora, everyone. Anamari, enjoy the session. I'll be here monitoring the chat, and I can like jump in and help you kind of.
If there are questions or anything, people want clarity, let me know. I know money and numbers is not everybody's strong suit. Like, so many people get into business because they love what they do, not because they are money, numbers, like how to run a business type people. So like, ask your questions. That's why you're here. That's why Digital Boost is here. That's why I'm here. So love to get you the answers, but otherwise I will just
go ahead and share, get yourself going. Love it.
Everyone see that okay?
Looks perfect. Thank you.
All right, so we are here to talk about 3 steps to earn more working less hours. And I just want to say, first of all, big thanks to Diana and Anamari for inviting me to come and speak to you guys. This is Digital Boost. What you guys do is so important to get you the support. And I just want to say, for those of you who are watching live or watching on replay, massive well done for showing up for yourself and for investing your time, very precious time, to learn about this topic, because I think getting pricing, profit, health of the business rolling is so important, and it says so much about you that you're turning up and showing up for yourself to learn about this. So that is amazing. Alrighty. So often we go into business to create better lives for ourselves, our families, to have time freedom and flexibility, to be the masters of our own destiny. And what often happens, I'm jumping ahead. What often happens is your business will take over your life. So what we're going to talk about today is, specifically for those of you who have built an awesome business. So you're serving your clients, you're delivering for your clients, you love what you do and you're passionate about it, and you deliver genuine results and genuine experiences for your clients, and you've been in business for a while with no plans on stopping. So this is specifically for people who are more established. But if you were just starting out, like, this is for you too, because these are some major pitfalls that you can avoid before you even hit them. So this is relevant for people in all spectrums of business. I will say that because I'm a service-based business expert, but the principles of what I'm going to talk about will be relevant for product and retail as well. Alrighty. So what often happens is when we get into business, your business will take over your life. I would do a hands up, anyone who's feeling that your business takes over your life. And the more successful you are, the more that happens. So yes, there's a hand up. And so we end up sacrificing time with friends and family. We sacrifice our physical and mental health. Casual says, yes. And, we often risk burnout. The number of business owners I know who are in burnout, have done burnout, are recovering from burnout, are just about there. I know I did burnout as well, been there, got the t-shirt. And yet often, you do all these things, you're working so hard, but you still end up not having much money left over for you at the end of it. So we're still not earning what we expect. And this is driven a lot by the traditional view of business. It's going to move that out of the way. That the key to success is to just work harder. Hustle and grind, people, hustle and grind. Who has done the whole hustle and grind thing? Like, who's heard you just need to work harder for business? Yes. But I think with the help of COVID, a phrase I never thought I would say, I think there's more awareness around mental health and having businesses that actually support and fund our lifestyles. And really, that's what they should be doing. They should be supporting and funding our lifestyles, as well as impacting and serving our people. And work shouldn't be the most important thing in your life. Like, it shouldn't. If it is, there are other things, people. But we need our business to manage that. And I am here to help you build that business that helps support and fund your lifestyle. So it's not like the key thing in your life right now. Alrighty, so before we dive into the 3 things to help you earn more working less hours. If we haven't met yet, I am Natalie Coombe from nataliecoombe.com. And I help predominantly service-based business owners to nail your pricing and your profit, so you can pay yourself what you deserve, not what you're worth, but what you deserve. You're priceless, doing what you love, but only working the hours that you want. And I've been helping businesses make more money more easily for over 25 years. I've worked with everyone from large multi-billion-pound companies in London and across Europe to SMEs here in New Zealand and Australia, and solopreneurs and sole traders around the world. For context, I spent 10 years working in London. Was considered one of the top digital commercial directors in the UK. I've worked with major international brands like Mindshare Worldwide, MNC Saatchi Leader, Agency Republic. I've run multiple startups. I've managed teams of over 100 people. I have managed P&L, so profit and loss accounts, worth multi-million dollars. I have rolled out commercial models across Europe. I've sat at their boardroom with James Dyson at Dyson headquarters in the UK and co-negotiated multi-billion-pound deals with global brands. And I've worked behind the scenes with Nike, Rolex, American Express, Dyson, Unilever, to name a few. So safe to say, I know a little bit about running profitable businesses. I'm also a single mom by choice to my whirlwind of a 6-year-old. And within 18 months of starting my online business, I built a 6-figure business, paying myself a full-time salary, working just 3 days a week. And I have helped hundreds of business owners to do the same thing for themselves, create their lifestyles that they went into business for as well. So I know firsthand the challenges of starting up and scaling a profitable business. And my mission is to support particularly women in business to create lifestyles they adore while financially supporting themselves and their loved ones doing what they love. And I am excited to help all of you to do that today. So here we go. 3 steps to earn more, working less hours. We're going to cover number 1, we need to be focusing on the right numbers, and we'll talk about what they are. We need to estimate with honesty, people, and strangely enough, we need to price for profit, but we'll talk a bit more about what that is. All right, focusing on the right numbers. So most of the time, you will hear the big driver is all about revenue. Even the phrase we use to describe a successful business is based on revenue, purely and solely on revenue. A 6-figure business or a 7-figure business, right? It's just based on revenue. But what is, I would say, more important than revenue is profitability, right? Because it's profit, not revenue, that enables you to invest in your business, to grow quicker, to help you get the support and help you need that makes doing business enjoyable as well as successful. So you're not the one having to DIY everything and the overwhelm and the stress that comes with all of that. It's profit that means you don't have to freaking work all the hours, and you can create a lifestyle that you love. It's also being profitable that means you get to choose which work you do rather than having to say yes to everything just to make some money. And obviously it's being profitable that enables you to pay yourself a salary you deserve, that enables you to support and fund your lifestyle. Alrighty. So we need to make a couple of shifts, some mindset shifts, when we want to kind of make our business more profitable. And one of them is to not just focus on revenue growth. Yes, revenue growth is important, but we also need to prioritize profit growth. So now most of you probably go, yep, that makes sense. I would challenge you though, like how many of you have profit targets? So you probably all have monthly revenue targets. We should, but you should also have profit targets as well, because that's what we want to see growing. But there's one other shift that we want to make, and that is, particularly for those of you who are service-based, we want to stop focusing on what we charge per hour, and we want to prioritize what we earn per hour. And so understanding that kind of what we earn per hour rate for basically any business is really important, because that helps you understand the value you are getting for the time you are putting in. It's a really powerful metric to understand, because our time is limited. Our time is really precious. When we're spending our time or investing our time on activities in the business, we want to make sure that we're getting the best return on that time that we can, and we're spending it wisely. So understanding what you earn per hour is really important. And again, I know for service-based businesses, you can be charging out $200 an hour, woohoo, and people would go, well, it's amazing, that's a great hourly rate, but actually end up only earning $50 an hour because of how long it takes you to deliver it. Conversely, you might charge $100 an hour, but depending on your pricing and your business model and the way you deliver, you can end up earning $500 an hour or $700 an hour. So we shouldn't get hooked up and kind of preoccupied with this charge out rate. We need to prioritize our earning rate. So how do we do that? So two things. One is what we talked about. You guys set a profit target, and I'd love to know who here has profit targets. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know who has a profit target already. I know for me, every year, the first driver is profit target. What do I want? What do I want to earn? And then I work backwards. Well, if I want to earn that, like, what do I need to invest in? So my expenses in order to make that happen. And then, right, so therefore, what is my revenue target? And the sole purpose of the revenue target is to generate the profit I want, because it's out of profit that I'm able to pay myself and support and fund my lifestyle. So make sure that we are setting kind of annual and monthly profit targets and start to track the growth of that. And the second thing is, particularly for service-based, we want to work out what you and your team are earning per hour, not just charging per hour. Alrighty. So for those of you who have, yes, that is it. For service-based businesses, there is a tool that can help you work out what your earning per hour actually is. And you can access it there. It's for free, but it's a really powerful tool to go, what is out of your services, what is the most profitable to deliver? And it also will help you identify areas that you could streamline, that you could outsource, delegate, automate, to help you earn more. So go grab that tool. All right, so step number one is to focus on the right numbers. And those numbers are around profit, not just revenue. And for service-based businesses, what you end up earning per hour, not just what you charge per hour. For product-based businesses, you'd want to be looking at the gross profit of the different products and really work out, like, which is your most profitable product? Because you want to make sure that the one that you're selling the most of is highly profitable. And we want to start promoting those products and services that generate the most profit for us, because that is what's going to enable us to earn more working less time. Obviously, all of this needs to be valuable to your client, because if it's not valuable and impactful to your client, they ain't going to be buying it anyway. So it's about finding that sweet spot of profitability and client value. But we need to know the profitability piece to make sure we're not promoting and selling and delivering services that are our products that are actually damaging us and our lifestyles because they're not profitable to deliver. So number one, focus on the right numbers, profitability, not revenue, and what you earn, not what you charge. Step number two is to estimate with honesty. Woo! Oh, here we go. I'm just seeing the comments. So Ruth, you do, but I got it from revenue working down. Yeah, Ruth. So Ruth is saying that she does have targets, a profit target, but it was revenue working down. Really normal. Try doing it the other way. It's going to be really eye-opening. Try setting profit targets where it's like, what do I want to earn? What am I giving myself permission to earn? What does it cost me to deliver that? That is your revenue target, because it may be a different number, but it's going to help you get clearer, going to help you get clearer on what steps you need to take to get there, so you end up with that profit and that salary. Okay. Back to step 2. I should always like check the comments before I move on to the next slide. So step 2 is estimate with honesty. So when it comes to quoting, estimating, understanding how long things take, most of us absolutely suck at doing it. And this can show up in a number of different ways. Over there. So it comes up where we underestimate how long things take, and we overlook the tasks as well. So, sucking at estimating how long things take is something that affects, all of us all through our lives. But when it comes to business, it can be really damaging to a whole range of areas in business, actually. Let's have a quick look. So we underestimate the time. We have the 5-minute email. By the way, nothing takes you 5 minutes, just to let you know. I've been doing this for nearly 25 years and nothing takes 5 minutes. So it's a 5-minute email that you end up spending half an hour on, right? By the time you've read the email, you've thought about your response, you've crafted a reply, you've reread the reply, you've tweaked the reply, you wondered about whether I should hit send, you finally hit send, and then you sit there and go, should I have said something else, right? That all takes time. We also underestimate things like the quick task that you're still doing like 2 hours later, and the I'm nearly done activity you're still doing 2 days later. Like who's done any of these? So that is one of the key is overlooking, underestimating the time, right? And the other area is where we overlook the tasks. And I see this with my clients all the time, like the processes that we go through when they actually see what it takes for them to deliver. And they're like, sugar me, I didn't realize that I do all these things. No wonder I am burning out. So overlooking the tasks. So a key example, particularly for like coaches, is time to onboard a client. Well, this is relevant for pretty much every industry, particularly if you're going to do an ongoing relationship with them. Onboarding the client, reading their questionnaire, getting them set up, having those initial discovery conversations, like that all takes time. The prep for if you're doing a coaching session, you might do half an hour worth of prep beforehand to make sure that you get a really powerful session, and then you're going to follow up from them, right? The client don't see pretty much any of that behind the scenes stuff, but it's incredibly powerful and it's really important and therefore is chargeable. Replying to all the clients' emails, texts, messages, WhatsApp. This is a killer. Okay, so if you've ever recorded your time and you see how much time you spend replying to ad hoc client messages, I've had clients where that time alone is double what they spend actually delivering the service, right? Double. So the cost was 3 times as much because of the amount of time they spent. And then there's these non-visible tasks like brainstorming, problem solving, creative thinking, that particularly if you're in the creative industry, marketing, media, or strategy industry, the time you spend thinking and brainstorming is your most valuable time. Like it's actually that the client's paying for. They're not just paying for the document, they're paying for the solution in the document, which comes from often time away from the computer. Like when you're walking the dog, or you're having a shower, or you're trying to sleep at 2 a.m. and this idea comes up, right? That is often our most valuable time, but because it's not visible, we don't count it. We don't think about it. So many of my creative clients and people in kind of marketing and media, when we talk about this, they're like, oh my God, I've never thought of charging for that time. Like, can I charge for that time? I'm like, yes, you can, and you should. So the challenge though is not only when we don't include these tasks into our pricing, right? We're not earning time for it. We're not earning money for it. So we have to work even harder, which means we end up working evenings and weekends. But what also happens is when we don't include them in our pricing, we don't include them in our planning, right? And so what happens is you are not allowing time in your diary, in your schedule, in your week to do all these extra tasks. So they come as a surprise. And you're like, well, shit, no wonder I didn't get anything done because I spent all this time doing this other stuff that I wasn't thinking about, but is required. And so it's really important estimating with honesty to understand all the tasks that you do to deliver your product or service and how long it honestly takes you to do them. So A, we include them in our pricing so we get paid for all our time, and B, we schedule them into the diary, into the calendar, so we have time to do them without having to work evenings, having to work weekends, and squeezing it in. And so not estimating with honesty, which is really common, by the way. If you're going, oh my God, this is me, really, really normal, really common. It reduces your profitability. It increases your stress levels because you're not having all the time you need to do it well. And it reduces the quality of your work, which affects your reputation because you're not able to do your best work and your best time. And this is particularly relevant. And for a lot of the creatives I work with, like, this is a real issue for them. They feel like they're in a churn factory, just trying to get stuff out. And so estimating with honesty becomes a really critical part of building a business that gives you the time that you need, the money that you need, but also that gives you the creative freedom to do your best work. Alrighty, so step one is to focus on the right numbers, profit, not just revenue, and what you're earning per hour, not just what you're charging per hour. And there is a tool that you can use to help you identify what that is. And so you can start setting profit targets to increase your profitability. And here we are looking at, estimating with honesty. We got, yes, thank you. I'm like, there should be a quick fix coming. There is the quick fix. Start recording your time. Like, I don't know who has ever recorded their time. I hate recording my time. So let's just be honest. No one likes doing it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't, but it's just acknowledging that it's going to be something that we resist. But recording your time, even if it's just for delivering one product or delivering one service to one client, is incredibly powerful because it gives you that insight of an awareness of what goes into delivering your services, but how long you actually spend on it. I don't know if anyone's ever watched Marie Kondo. She's a decluttering expert. She had a show on Netflix, and she gets her clients to get everything out when they're looking at decluttering their wardrobe, right? They get all the clothes out of every hidden place in every room in the house and pile them onto the bed or wherever and makes them look at it. And it's not until you see everything there that you're like, I have a problem, which gives you that motivation to do something about it. And recording your time is pretty much that same experience often, where we're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I forgot that I do all these extra things. And I didn't realize just how long I spent on that, because our brains like to trick us into thinking we don't spend that long. But then when you're there, you're like, okay, well, I don't have to do that. And I can streamline that. And there are, you can start to find better ways of working smarter, not harder. It's what I spend a lot of my time with my clients on, is looking at how do we streamline so that we deliver a really valuable experience to the clients, but do it in a way that is more efficient in the background and therefore more profitable and less stressful for you. So quick fix is to start recording your time. For those of you who have staff, it's also relevant to get them to record their time as well. And I recommend you do it for, at least one type of product or one service that you deliver. as a minimum. And then if you really want to get into it, start looking at where you spend time elsewhere in the business as well, because that will help you identify tasks that you can outsource to get more time back in your day. Okay. So to recap, number one, focus on the right numbers, profit, not just revenue, earning, not just charging. Number two is to estimate with honesty. And so making sure we're conscious of all the tasks it takes to deliver your product and service, and how long it honestly takes you to do that. Quick fix is to start recording your time to get the insight, so then you can start doing something about it to get more time back in your day. All right. So number three is price for profit, people. And I mean, this sounds obvious. Like, it sounds like the thing that we should all be doing, but you'd be amazed. Maybe you wouldn't, but I sometimes am amazed at how often it doesn't happen. Instead, the most common pricing method is what we call market-based pricing. So using market rates. And this is where, you know, you check what the market is doing, what your competitors are doing, what other people are charging, and you base your pricing on them, right? Their rates. Who has done this? Yes, some people. I know when I ask this question, like most people, market-based pricing is the method they use. Either that or they guess. So it's really, really common. However, the challenge with market-based pricing is that you have no idea if your competitors are making any money. Chances are they are struggling just as much as you are. But you know, their business is a black box to you. So you don't know what is going on behind the scenes. The other issue as well is that we make a really big assumption when we base our pricing on our competitors. You know, we are assuming that they know more than us, right? We're assuming that they must be the expert. I'm going to base it on them, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because you know, the what someone else charges has no relevancy to you. You know, you are the expert in how you deliver results. You know, everybody is different. Every business is different. And while knowing the market rate, really important for context, it shouldn't be used to work out what we charge, because we need to build our pricing based on the service that you and product that you deliver, the impact that you have on your clients' businesses and their lives, and what it takes for you to deliver it, not somebody else, which is someone else's business, which is a complete black box. But what do you do instead? If you don't do market-based, what do you need to do? So you need to work out first what you need to charge so your business is profitable and sustainable and viable. And I talked about this a little bit right at the beginning when we talk about the value of your service and charging what your service or product is worth. And we need to balance that with also understanding what it takes for it to be profitable. So I know a lot of people who've said, yeah, I use value-based pricing, which basically means they haven't done any math. They've just gone, what do I think is it worth? And they've put a price tag on it. But when you then dive deeper, when we go deeper into what exactly it takes to deliver, we discover that isn't profitable. Even though it's value-based, it's not profitable. And so doing this piece of work to understand what you need to be earning for your product and service, and therefore charging for your product and service, in order for your business to be viable and profitable and get the lifestyle that you want, is really, really critical. So many business owners don't actually do it. And I want to talk to you about, yes, I've got them here, the 4 key pricing methods that it takes to price up. Now this works. Oh, someone comment. I got a comment. This would be like a no-brainer. Thank you so much for sharing, Caroline. 100%. Like, it sounds like a no-brainer, but it doesn't happen. I wish more business owners did it. I think more businesses would be healthy and thriving, and the economy would be better if more businesses actually figured out what they need to be charging to be profitable first. And sometimes you have to work to that piece. You have to, it may not feel like you can charge that much straight away. Sometimes that's because your offer or your product is including everything, including the kitchen sink, where it doesn't need to. And so like when I work with my clients, we kind of like peer back, like what is just the most valuable part of that product or service? How do we deliver that as efficiently as possible? And then make sure that what we're charging for is profitable, but also valuable to the client. And so there are a number of moving pieces, which I think is why it doesn't happen as often as it should. But they're just really critical to having that business that is going to keep going and is going to pay you and pay your staff and be able to invest in all those really important things. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so the 4 key pricing methods are market-based pricing, which we talked about, which is not very good pricing method, but is really important for context, which is where once you've worked out what you need to charge to be profitable, you can use the market to work out where you need to position yourself. That becomes kind of a branding equation. Like, am I cheap and cheerful? You're not going to be, but that's that one end of the scale. Am I in the middle of the road with my pricing? In which case, how do I stand out in what is quite a crowded marketplace? Or do I need to be positioning myself at the premium end of the pricing of the market? That's going to affect how how my marketing, my branding, who I am trying to attract, all those really important things. But it all starts with understanding what you need to be charging in order for your business to be profitable. And then we use market-based. So goal-based pricing, super quick, is where we kind of work out the ballpark of where you need to be pricing in order to be profitable. And then you kind of work back from there. So that's fine if you're just starting out, you have one product or one service. But as soon as you have multiple products and services, goal-based pricing isn't sophisticated enough to kind of cover all of that. So the 2 most powerful pricing methods are cost-based pricing and value-based pricing. And they're even more powerful when you work together. Let's just talk through them. So cost-based pricing is where you base your pricing kind of from the ground up. So first of all, we need to look at the business. Like, what does it take? What does the business need to be earning to be able to invest in all the support and resources we need? What do we need to be earning per hour in order to achieve the lifestyle that we want? What does it take to deliver the service? What's the minimum? Therefore, we need to be charging. And so it is quite a granular piece of work, but it's really powerful for helping you understand the minimum you need to be charging in order to be profitable. Again, this is a lot of what I work with my clients on. And then we combine cost-based pricing with value-based pricing. So value-based pricing, as I talked about at the beginning, is where it's no longer about you, your value, or how long it took you to deliver it, or how much it costs you to create it. Instead, it is about your client, your customer, and it's about the impact or experience they have and how valuable that is to them. And then we base our pricing on that value rather than the cost. And so it's really powerful because it takes us out of the equation. We're not basing our pricing on how much we are worth because we're priceless. Instead, it's about the impact, and it takes the focus off us and focusing more on the client, which makes it also really helpful for sales conversations, makes them kind of less awkward. But value-based pricing and cost-based pricing, when you use them together, are really powerful. One thing I think is really important. I know a lot of people want to use value-based pricing, which is great, most powerful of the 4 key pricing methods. But the key thing is, before you use value-based pricing, like, you have to do your numbers first. You have to work out, what is the minimum I need to charge for this product or service to be profitable? And then, but how much is it worth? Can I charge more for it? Because it actually has a higher value to my client. And if the answer is yes, then go and do it. Interestingly, if the answer is no, if it's not worth more, if it's worth less, oh my God, stop doing it. Don't deliver it. If it's not worth more than it costs you to deliver, that is not a product that or service that you want to be devoting your time and energy to, because it's not going to get you where you need to go. Cool. Just taking my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. Cool. So one of the really powerful things about value-based pricing is it really gives you confidence. And so Anamari was talking about this before, like, how can I get away with charging that? Like, and is it worth it? And value-based pricing, when you go through the exercise, is really powerful for building your confidence. One of my clients, she said this, having done the work, is that she had the confidence to charge what her services were actually worth, not what she thought people could afford to pay, right? And so we got to move away from worrying about our client's financial situation, particularly right now, and instead go, this is the value of it and why it's valuable to that client and why it's worth them making the investment, and start making these communications, rather than focusing on, you know, what do I think they can afford to say. And then this other one was, when you do these two things together, when you do cost-based pricing and value-based pricing together, what it does is it helps you go, I provide value. Like I'm trying not to swear so hard right now. And if anyone's watched any of my normal videos or whatever, they know that's a challenge and I'm doing really well. But when you do cost-based pricing and value-based pricing and you do them together, you're like, I know my service is worth it. Like, this is the bomb and you need it. And you have that confidence in yourself. And you also know your business is viable, right? That it's going to survive. It's going to keep going, that you know you're going to have the money you need to cover your costs and pay yourself and not have to work crazy hours. And right now in the current climate, understanding what it takes for your business to be viable is really, really important. Alrighty. So 3 ways to earn more working less. It's relevant for all businesses. So number 1, focus on the right numbers. So get yourself a profit target. Work backwards to what your revenue target should be in order to make that happen. Probably going to be a different number, right? But at least you're going to know. And then you can take steps to make that happen, to make that revenue target happen, and make investments and be able to pay yourself, right? We also need to, particularly for service-based businesses, we need to stop prioritizing and kind of getting obsessed with what we charge per hour, and instead focus on what we earn per hour for services. There's a calculator, a tool that Anamari put in. Oh, Paul, that's a great question. I will answer that very shortly. There is, in the link, I'm sure Anamari will share it around, is a tool that will help you work out what you earn per hour. And that's really powerful too, to help you understand, if you do that exercise for your core services, it will help you identify which one is more profitable, and make sure that we are promoting the ones that are more profitable. And if you have a really popular one that's less profitable, the tool will give you some steps that you can take to help make that service be worth your time to deliver, particularly if it's really meeting a client need. We want to be able to deliver it more, but we need to make sure that you are not damaging your own profitability by delivering that service. So making it more profitable. Number 2, we need to estimate with honesty. We generally, as a rule, suck at estimating how long things honestly take. And so we want to be really clear about all the tasks it takes to deliver your product and service, so that we're taking them into equation, and how long it honestly takes you to do. Key action that you can take for that is to start recording your time. Not for everything, that's overwhelming, but for delivering and creating one product or one service, record it, see where your time goes, and look at areas that you can identify, that you can streamline or outsource or automate or delegate, that's going to make your service more profitable, and also get you more time back, so that you can either spend it growing your business and getting more clients and making more money, or you can spend it doing something else, spending time with the family, getting your evenings back, getting your weekends back, creating that lifestyle that you want. Again, the tool that is in step number 1 will help you identify that as well. And then number 3, we want to price for profit. So again, sounds obvious, sounds like a logical thing to do. Most people don't. And we talked through that market-based pricing is the most common. But there are actually 4 key pricing methods. Market-based pricing is just one. The 2 most powerful are a combination of cost-based pricing, so working out the minimum you need to charge or earn for that product or service in order for your business to be viable and profitable. And then combining that with value-based pricing, which is where we go, well, that's the minimum. Is it worth more? And we look at the impact that that product or service has on our client's business or life. And then we go, how much is that worth? And then you put your pricing in context to that. You know, if you work with other businesses and you help them make like $10,000, like you can easily charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for that service or more. We generally go for a return on investment of somewhere between, up to, kind of to 10 times return, but between 3 to 5 times return on investment is kind of the sweet spot. So, value-based pricing, really powerful, but you have to do the cost-based pricing first. Otherwise, you may not be profitable. Paul asked the question, which is, can you recommend a list of typical questions we should ask clients upfront to understand the value and can convert the value into prices? Great question. So it does depend on your industry. So Paul, if you want to let me know what industry you're in. A lot of the clients I work with, they are in kind of sales, marketing, branding, websites, social media, all of that industry. And they're always, okay, engineering design and consultant. Ooh. Share a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind, about what you do for your clients. And then I'll see if I can extract some questions that you should be asking them to help quantify value. For those of you who work with businesses, generally, there's only so many things when you work with businesses you help them to do. You either help them, say, get more sales, so you make more money, or you help them save time and therefore make more money because you're saving time, you're saving costs, they're making more profit. Those are kind of the 2. There's a third, and I can't remember what it is. But they all do the same thing. They all basically, if you work with businesses in some way or form, you help them make more money. Your job is to actually work out how much more money that is. And so you can put your pricing in context. 3 questions that I often get my clients in the industry to ask is, I'll ask your client, how many inquiries do you get a week out of those, or a month? Out of those inquiries, how many of them convert? Like, how many do you end up? Is it 50% convert into a client, 25, 75? Like what's the rate? And then the third question is, what is either the annual value of that client or the lifetime value of that client? So it's not just about like the one sale, it's what do they then go on to invest in and purchase from you. So how many inquiries do you get a week? How many of those convert? What's your conversion rate? And what's the annual value of them? When you ask those 3 questions, you get a baseline of what they're currently doing, and then you work with them. You create them a website, you do their social media, you do their marketing strategy, you do their branding, you write blog posts, whatever it is. And then you check back with them like 3 months later, 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later, people. And you can ask them the same questions. When we started working with you, you were getting a couple of leads a week, you were converting 50% and they were worth $2,000. Like, how is that now? Because it only takes small incremental tweaks to any of those to make a significant financial impact. And you can work out how many leads, by how many of those convert into clients, and how valuable is that client. You can work out the revenue that they are generating through that process. And then you can do a compare and contrast 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later after working with you, and see the impact that you're having. And getting those snippets to go, well, I had a client and we increased their leads by 50%, or Their conversion rate increased because they're getting better quality people coming in through the website or whatever it is. They ended up earning another $50,000 over the year because of it, whatever that number is. That's a really powerful conversation, a really powerful story to be able to take. So all of us need to start capturing these wins and trying to quantify where we can these wins from our clients. It helps us with our pricing, but also they're incredibly powerful stories to start sharing. Okay, Paul, my service is mainly producing structural engineering design and drawings for all sorts of, okay. Ooh, value. Okay, Paul, what would happen if they did a bad design? What would happen? Because you're an excellent engineering design consultant. You are saving them, I'm gonna go hundreds of thousands by not having a bad design. So that's my question for you to think about is what would happen if they did a bad structural design? The costs involved in that are massive. And so your cost, the investment of working with you to avoid all these really horrible things happening, bad structural design, like the return on investment on that is going to be significant. So that would be my challenge to you, is to think about in your industry, what would happen if they were bad, what would happen? What would that cost? That is what they're investing in, is the prevention of all of these things happening, and your cost is in contrast to that. I hope that helps. Denise, how often do you think it is reasonable to put your hourly rate up? I love that you're asking that question, especially when you've realized you are undercharging, e.g. once per year. Oh, thanks, Paul. Yay. Great question, Denise. So how often should you increase your prices? And that could be increasing your hourly rate. So first of all, my position is what you need to earn per hour in order to be viable, it ain't nobody else's business. Now, I know that's hard if you're in an industry that charges by the hour, because people generally see the hour. I would always recommend, Denise, for you or anyone in the industry where you charge per hour, to look at how you can package up what you deliver, and so focus on deliverables rather than time. Because when you charge per hour, and I know this is not answering your question, but I will, when you charge per hour, you get penalized for being more efficient. So the more experienced you are, the better you are, the quicker you are, the less you earn, which is the complete opposite of how that should work. You should be the one that also benefits from your efficiency and your streamlined and just your experience that you bring to the table. And so trying to move away from hourly rates, visible hourly rates, into they can be fixed price packages, but based on deliverables rather than time is really important, because then no one needs to know when you increase your pricing. But in terms of, in general, I don't recommend doing it more than once at 6 months. And if you've done that twice, if you've increased your prices twice in a year, don't do that again. You get one shot to increase your prices twice in a year, and then you're done. After that, it needs to be annually. Okay, let me clarify. It needs to be annually for clients who are ongoing, right? So if you've got existing clients who are used to paying a certain amount every month, yeah, you have to be a bit strategic about when you do your price increase. You always want to make sure when you do a price increase, it's proper and it's going to survive. You're going to survive on it for the next 12 months. So do not do it just based on inflation. Increasing your prices based on inflation is not going to make enough of a shift for you to be profitable in the next 12 months. You need to do the math to work out where you need to get to in order to be profitable. And then do that price increase, so you're not having to continuously adjust it because it's not enough. So for existing clients, maximum every 6 months, ideally every 12 to 18. Like, you do want to do it more often, so you're not left in 3 years' time going, oh my gosh, I got to do a massive price increase in order to be profitable, because that's hard for existing clients to absorb when it's one big increase. If you've been doing reasonable increases every 12 to 18 months, that is much easier for your existing clients to absorb in their business, and therefore you're less likely to lose clients by increasing your prices on a regular basis for a reasonable amount. For new clients, you can increase them whenever the heck you like. Like, ain't nobody paying any attention to what your prices were last week. No, they weren't. And so you can just put them up. No one else needs to know. Yeah. So hope that helps answer that question, Denise. But if you've been undercharging, which is really normal, it's really important to do the cost-based piece of the puzzle and go, where do I need to get to? So I am profitable. And maybe I need to do a couple of adjustments to do it as I build my confidence in my value, but you're going to know where you need to get to, rather than just kind of add a couple of dollars or add 10% or add 7% or whatever you're on. You're going to actually know where you need to get to. So we're not kind of constantly fudging. Caroline, can you explain further the 3 to 5% return on investment? Yes. So basically, if someone spends or invests $1,000 with you and they get 5,000 back, that's a 5 times return on investment, right? And that's a good investment. I mean, if I could spend $1,000 and get $5,000 back, I'm just going to keep doing that. And so that's where we talk about value-based pricing and putting your pricing in context, is going, it's worth this. The investment was X. What am I getting back? And sometimes getting 3 to 5 times return on investment is a solid investment for businesses to make. I hope that answers your question.
So there's actually a question here, and I asked for some more detail. So the first thing it says, what if you're a better buyer than seller? Is that a weakness of strength? So I asked for a bit more clarification. And Dave said, I buy used bikes and sell them on using Jairus window. I've identified I need to focus on selling more, even though I'm a world-class buyer.
Okay, great. So you have skills that other people don't have, right? And that is going to absolutely pay off in the long run. So well done on identifying that you have a skill that puts you ahead of other people. Here's the thing in business, we all have gaps. And life, really, let's be honest. But business, we all have gaps in our skill base and our knowledge base. No one comes into running your own business having every single skill available. Like, we don't. One of those skills, which is critical, is learning how to sell. And one of the others is learning how to price. One of the others is learning how to sell. For me, I'm the behind the scenes person. I'm the commercial expert. I ain't not the seller. Right. So I understand where you are coming from. But if I want my business to be successful, I knew I needed to invest in learning the skills to sell in a way that worked for me. And so that's what I did. All throughout our business journey, we're going to identify gaps that are preventing, either knowledge gaps or skill gaps, belief gaps, that are preventing us from achieving our goals. And our job is simply to fill that gap. And sometimes that is through things like Digital Boost and just getting those nuggets of gold and moving on. Sometimes that means investing, sometimes some pretty serious money with experts that either do it for us or teach us the skills to do. And so we plug that gap, our business moves forward, and then we identify the next gap that we need to. And that's just business, right? And so I would say to you, learn to sell. It's a skill you can learn.
I'm just checking the other channels, and there's that follow-up thing. How do you quantify quality of
life value? Yeah, that is hard. Carolyn, let me know in the comments a bit more about what quality of life, like the scenario for that. Because you're absolutely right. When we talk about understanding your value, I have 2 different methods for quantifying it based on whether you work with businesses and you make money, or it is health and wellness, and you work with individuals rather than businesses, because it is surprising how many times money is actually involved over here as well. We just don't realize it. But there are different ways to quantify value, if you're working with individuals and it's about quality of life.
Okay, health
consultant, therapist, teacher. What health issue? Because health is health consultant can help do a whole lot of things. But what particular health issue do you specialize in? I'll see if I can extract some value.
Yeah. No, I love this. This has been such a great session, Natalie. And just a thank you from Dave. You're welcome.
Bye.
Counseling.
So here, oh, this is a good question for you, Carolyn. In what area do you specialize? Because again, counseling.
Getting into it. We're getting into it, Natalie. The nitty-gritty. Yeah.
Yeah. Super, super broad. And this is where niching and being known as an expert in one particular area is really powerful. Okay, yay. Niche is inner child therapy.
Oh, okay. So that would be like adults that like discovering your inner child, I believe.
It is. So I'm thinking that is a methodology. It's a methodology to probably deal with trauma, I would guess. If that is the case, I would say you specialize in healing trauma, right? I'm making stuff up, but based on my basic knowledge of counseling. And so no one really gives a flying monkey about the methodology. What they care about is the results, right? What they care about is what will they be able to do after working with you. And so, Carolyn, that would be my question for you is when you do this work with them, and it may take, well, we know, right? It may take years. But there will be a key point of transformation for them, and then they'll continue to the transformation journey. But there'll generally be a key aha moment, thing that changed for them. You know, my question for you is, what will they be able to achieve after they've made that transformation that they couldn't do before, right? And you don't have to, I mean, you can answer now, you don't have to answer now, but for all of us, that is the question. What will my client be able to see, feel, do, achieve after working with me that they couldn't do before? And then it's how valuable is that? But the first thing is to identify what that is, because that is what people care about. They don't care about the pathway.
Yeah, like we're looking at, you know, what are the issues? We talked about this actually a few weeks ago about identifying 20 problems that somebody might be having, that your business focuses on, you know, plugging those gaps. I mean, when you solve somebody's problem, that's where you make profit, you know?
If you charge correctly.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I know so many businesses that solve problems and they ain't profitable because they're
that's so true. That's why this is such a great session off of some of the back of the sessions that we've had, is that we didn't talk about pricing at all in any of those sessions. We were just laying out business plans and we were laying out, you know, marketing strategies and all of this kind of stuff, but we didn't get into pricing, and that is where it gets real tricky. And that's why I was so glad that you were coming on this week, because it just trails it. We've just been on this journey, Natalie. We've just been going on this journey, and this is like one of the final pieces. And then we're going to do taxes next.
We're going to do on taxes.
Yeah. So we got Sam Harith coming in to do talk about tax, and then we're gonna, you know, we'll have the whole puzzle, I reckon. This is so good. But I love, okay, so healthy, happy relationships with self and others is priceless.
Oh, 100%. It is priceless. Yeah. And when you start talking about happy relationships with yourself and happy relationships with other people, that's what they want. Right. And, but interestingly, you may have examples of clients where by becoming happy with themselves, maybe they've been able to go for a job promotion. Maybe they've been able to go for that job that they really wanted to because they believe in themselves in a way that they couldn't before. That has monetary impact in their lives, and that's not why you do it. You do it for the transformation, but sometimes we can attach some financial benefit to doing it. But other times we talk about the result, you know, not having a happy house. You know, and that has generational impact. If you have a healthier, happier relationship with your partner, that will impact the next generation massively. And I think people who are seeking counseling, that impact on, if they have kids, that impact is priceless. So there are people who will pay whatever they need to pay to solve that problem.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Your job, Caroline, is to understand what you need to be earning for making such a big impact. So you are meeting your own personal and financial needs while helping other people meet theirs. It's a value exchange. And I think we always need to remember, particularly in this industry, in the helping industry, we deserve to be helped as well. Right? We deserve.
It's really hard, I think, especially people who are natural kind of helpers, want to give it away for free, you want to help people. And that's where, you see all these poor, health and well-being people, like they, really struggling to make ends meet, but helping give so much value to other people's lives. And so, finding that balance is quite challenging, but these have been some amazing strategies for us to start looking at those things and being a bit brave, I think, having that bit of self-worth, like you're teaching other people self-worth, you're teaching, and seeing your own value and having healthy relationships. This is your healthy relationship with yourself, so that's a really good little thing there, Caroline. Thank you so much. Ruth here as well. We're probably most of us on here are like, I like to help everyone do stuff just to help. So pricing has been very challenging for me. Absolutely. I mean, I'm that person too, Ruth. I'm like, just give it away, give it for free. I'm terrible at charging people for things that I can give them for free.
Well, and this, I was just gonna say, this is where, and this is one of the things I've found, as I work particularly with women, and I'm sure men have this issue as well, but I've certainly identified it as a theme with the woman I work with, is that we are raised to undervalue woman work, undervalue our natural talents and tendencies and gifts. And therefore it's hard to put a price tag on it. And we are valued as women for sacrificing and for putting other people first. I did a bit of a rant on International Women's Day. A friend of mine did a post about his wife, which was amazing, but he was valuing her, how much sacrifice she made, and the things she gave up. I'm like, why the heck should she give up? Like, why are we validating women for sacrificing themselves? for family? We shouldn't have to. Women should be supported to achieve our own dreams. I know I'm going off on a tangent because something I'm really passionate about, but therefore, as helpers, I am as well. I'm like, I would do this. If I won $1 million, I would still do this. Because helping other people create businesses that support and funds their lifestyle, creates generational wealth, helps people be way less stressed. Like, that has generational impact in itself. When kids see their mothers running businesses and being successful and thriving, you're like, that is amazing. And so, I'd love to do it for free, but I'm a single mom. Like, someone's got to pay the bills. And I know the impact of the work that I do on other people's businesses and lives, and so I make sure they're always getting value. They're always going to make a massive return on investing with me. I price it so they do that, but I also price it for what it's worth, and it is a balance between that. And I work with a number of people who are really passionate about sectors of society that literally can't afford it. And so we work on a model where we find clients who can afford it, and then we subsidize those who can't. And so, but we're still being profitable. So we're strategic about how we do that, how we continue to support people who perhaps don't have the funds or the resources, but in a way that continues to support and fund their own.
That's great. I love that kind of work. And I also want to just add, I think that you'll agree, and this is why you do so much work with folks, is surrounding yourself with people who have kind of figured this out, or have the confidence when it comes to that kind of stuff, makes a world of difference. I know that, as I grew up the same way, like, no, just give it away. And then I made some friends with some other women that were in business, and they were cutthroat, like they had no problem giving these, what I thought of as ridiculous prices for things. And then I started kind of adopting that and going, no, okay, no, this is like, I would just call them, what would you charge for this? You know, like, what would you charge? And I would have a figure in my mind, and their figure would be like way above what mine was. And then I would just go with their figure and be like, if this is what they would charge, I know that we're at the same level. I know that I can
that's right.
for the same goods.
Yep.
I'm going to go for it. And literally, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I got that number.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. And then they would just say, you know what, if you really don't want to do the job, price yourself out. And then if you get the money, you get it, and you'll do the job because it's so much value, but then you don't have to do it, and you don't say that you're not available, you know? And so like, I learned a lot of little tips from these women who had already been kind of, you know, had the game. And that's what you do. You know, I think you really have a real, you are an expert in this area. This has been such a valuable session. So many people getting so much value out of this session, and we're going to see those returns trickle out into the economy. So thank you so much, Natalie. It's been wonderful to have you on again. And we have run a little bit over, but I felt like everybody was still captivated. And so we were just like, yeah, we'll get more. So thank you so much. If there were some folks that were saying, oh, I might have missed a bit, this is being recorded. You will be able to watch it back. You can think about it. You can always find Natalie on LinkedIn or get in touch with her and maybe, you know, do some work together if that's what you choose. It looks like you've got lots of great resources on your website as well for people to just kind of get some more insights, which is awesome. NatalieCoombe.com. Like I'm a big fan. So I was really glad to have you on here today and just take that knowledge and share it with some folks that I know.
My pleasure to be here. I will say I do have next Thursday, I'm running a free masterclass to increase, I know, right? I don't often do free masterclasses, but it's to increase your profit without increasing your prices in 2023. And it sounds kind of counterproductive, but I know a lot of people are reluctant to increase prices right now, but that shouldn't stop you from getting more profit from your services. For service-based specifically, that's next Thursday. There's a link on my website that you can register for that. And it'd be great to see you guys there.
Yeah. So if you're looking for that, it's just nataliecoombe.com. If you click on the link that I actually put in earlier, you can go to like the main website. I'll just grab it for everybody just really quickly. And then the website's like just a link they can click on before they leave. And I'll drop it in the chats across all the platforms so you have it. Like just that one comment here, so many great comments, but best digital boost session I have been on. Thank you. So we've done like 500 of these. So just saying, that's a little bit of that's
my praise.
To me, that just says a lot. So thank you so much, because that is really special. Thanks so much for joining in, guys. And I hope you got, I know you got lots of value, and we'll see you next time. And thanks so much, Natalie. Appreciate you.